just want everything louder all the time.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the Jimmy Curve. That was a little piece of music from John Clemenson and the Party. Hopefully, I'll have more music from them to play later on. I talked to John. He hangs around the comedy scene a little bit. He's a super cool guy, so check out their band if you get a chance. John Clemenson and the Party. Welcome to the Jimmy Curve. I am your host, Jimmy Putnam. With me, as always, are my co-hosts, Joshua Vossler.
Hello, everybody.
That doesn't sound like Joshua Vossler, because Joshua Vossler is not joining us today. He's at work. Filling in is guest co-host Annie Hildebrand.
Hello,
Again,
everybody.
I did that weird. I made it weird.
You're so much less confident when you're yourself.
Yep, that's how it works.
And Will Doherty.
I put out an air of confidence in order to hide all the insecurities.
Yep, that's what I do too. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Our guest today on the show, we're just going to jump right in and get right to him because we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Winslow Dumaine.
Hey!
Winslow, you are one of my favorite joke writers in the comedy scene. You mostly do stand-up comedy. You've dabbled in improv.
A little bit.
You do some writing. Photography. I've seen a lot of photography, notably of adorable raccoons.
I've got a couple photos of raccoons, but most of the ones I find are just the sharing of the raccoon page.
Yeah, you just like raccoons.
Big fan.
Yeah, it's it's the most adorable thing about you is the reposting of.
I clutch onto that last little precious shard of raccoonsness in me, but yeah, definitely.
You also play music, which I don't know, doesn't always necessarily sound like music to me. I would say that you and I have a very different idea of what music is. How would you define the sound of your band?
We have, it started off as me and my friend Matt, and Matt is very talented with classical guitar, flamenco guitar, and it's all acoustic. And then I'm really into like noise and black metal and just like scary shit.
What is black metal?
Black metal is a subgenre of heavy metal. It's
Like industrial kind of stuff?
It can be industrial. It's a lot more it's almost like a more romantic version of death metal, and I'm sure there's a much better way.
I hesitate to use the term gothic.
There's going to be elements of that as well.
I mean, I think that the term gothic gets misused a lot in art. Like it really means like, Renaissance romantic.
Right, right. But yeah, and so then it's got a bit of this kind of harsher noise to it. Right now it's just kind of an eclectic collection of different recordings. Mm-hmm. The stuff that I've been working on lately has been just me making my own instruments. I'm trying to play the saw, trying to figure that one out.
When you say noise, like, are you literally just using the word noise as a descriptor, or is that like a description of a genre that already exists?
It is a genre that already exists, but as it stands right now, because I'm in Omaha, and Anderson is in Nashville, and my friend Matt is in Cape Girardeau.
Can I play a clip of
yeah, sure.
You can keep talking. Sorry.
Well, and so we're all very split up, so we're not going to be able to meet up or ever do any jam sessions or anything. So it's just really us recording our own little pieces and then assembling it all together in the end. This is a clip from our first song and first video called Thunderblood.
I may have just frightened away a lot of our listeners.
Well,
That came in a little screamier than I thought it was going to be. Okay. That was a little clip of it.
Just a little bit. The new stuff we're doing. See, that was recorded for a very short time frame.
Right.
And so, because that originally was just for a final for a class. And now we're expanding quite a bit. The new thing that I've been doing lately is we recently had a pretty severe snowstorm, and basically it was like the night of the snowstorm. I went out into the forest. It was like 1 a.m, and I have a pretty nice handheld audio recorder, and I was able to get just the sound of the like unblemished winter, soundscape, and owls, and like I got the sound of owls basically finding prey, and like a great owl battle going on.
Owls are crazy, man. Owls are mean.
I had an owl for a while, but I had to get rid of it.
You had an owl?
All right, well, okay.
Can you own an owl?
No, you can't. That's a problem, because I found a dead owl behind my house. And
Right.
That's how every good story starts.
yep, this is where this one's gonna go. I found the dead owl, and it was perfect. It was like this gorgeous owl. I'm not exactly sure how it died, but it was very fresh. And and I came up from behind the house, and I just realized, well, if I can't leave it down there, because then the dogs are gonna get to it.
Yeah.
And so I just got it, and I was like, well, I'll just wrap it in plastic and figure out something to do with it later. And I just threw it in the freezer. And it stayed there for a good 6 to 9 months.
Are we talking like one of those big, like,
It was a big fucking
open
owl.
freezers?
Oh, no.
Specifically the freezer. Or just a regular, like, half of a fridge?
Literally just half of a fridge.
Okay. all
So
right, good.
it was
Good.
like, fucking ice cream, ice cubes, frozen pizzas, owl.
Good.
And the reason we had to get rid of it is kind of twofold, because one, we were running out of space, and the other thing is that everything started to kind of taste a little like owl.
What is the taste of owl? I'm guessing everything tastes mean.
It tastes a little bit like bald eagle.
Okay, gotcha. Good.
Yeah.
Who is we?
We it really just me, but it's the fact that I don't own the freezer.
Right.
So
Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. So you have autonomous access to the freezer. Like, You
Yeah.
didn't have to run that by anybody.
Yeah, I'm a self-actualized
Good.
man.
Good. What is your band called?
For now, we're called Glaciers.
For now.
Yeah, because it's very impromptu. And it's 3 very different sounds coming together.
Okay.
So, I mean, my friend's on the flamenco baritone guitar and piano, and he does all this other stuff, and I've got these piezoelectric transducers, which is a very fancy way of saying a contact mic. You basically make it yourself. You just get a soldering gun, and you can do whatever. But it's just this little gold disc that you can hook into an amp, and anything that you touch it to, it picks up on the vibrations.
That's how you play a saw?
Yeah, you can play the saw that way. It's a different sound than playing the saw in a conventional, conventional way. But like if you put it to, some fabric, and then you drag your finger across the fabric, you can hear the roar of the fingernail running against the fabric. So I do vocals with the piezo hooked up to just to my throat.
Oh, yeah?
So it just gets like this gruff sound that I want. And the recordings of all sorts of other crashes and noises, and we just organize them together.
All right.
And then Anderson, who...
It's like Beck without the rhythm or melody.
Well, that's the thing, is like...
I'm sorry, that was mean. I apologize.
Anderson is in a legitimate band, and they're called Pornography, and they're outstanding. They're so fucking good. And Matt has definitely got an ear for melody. It's just that I totally don't, and so my submission to the band is vocals, lyrics, recording of ambient stuff, and just different just recordings of everything, really. Cool. And then Matt and Anderson will put it together in the end. Because we all have different inspirations, and Matt's going to be like more of the classical stuff. There's more of the hardcore and the punk and the rock metal stuff going on from Anderson, and I'm into just huge theatrical, noisy kind of things. There's this band called Gnaw Their Tongues, and it's just if you don't like what I sound like, oh my god!
I don't think it's that I don't like it. I think it's that I don't get it.
Right.
I haven't. The only thing I've heard was I saw the video that Jimmy played the clip from earlier, and I understand what he means when he says it doesn't seem like music. What that clip specifically sounded like to me, and I don't know anything about music, but what that sounded like was like the specific type of unsettling noise that a horror movie makes when it's setting up a jump scare.
Right. It's super cinematic. Like I'm totally okay with it being more like for the emotion rather than because we're not going to be playing shows,
right?
So you can really take a lot of liberty in just making this kind of creeping dread kind of sound.
I think in my head I draw, and this is probably unfair, but I think I draw a delineation between what I call music and other forms of sonic art.
Right, and that might be true. I don't.
Oh.
I don't discount its artistry.
I don't care about the distinction enough.
Sure.
To really bother with it.
It's not an important one. It's just in my head when I'm like, this isn't music. I don't mean to say that it's not creative or interesting.
Would you then say like a movie score isn't music then?
I mean, I think there are things done by Foley artists
Foley
and
is,
sound
is
effects
so
artists.
Amazing.
It's crazy.
Yeah, Foley's outstanding.
Right.
There's a reason they're called Foley artists.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's outstanding stuff.
And certainly scoring a film is one thing. Like the theme to Jaws is 1-2 notes, but it's music. I mean, it has melody and rhythm. I mean, I think melody and rhythm are kind of important to like what I call music.
They both have similar goals, and the goal of music in a very broad sense is to put a feeling into somebody, and sometimes it's going to be a very complicated feeling. And not everybody's going to get the same thing. And so Jaws definitely, I mean, obviously you'd have to have seen the movie or had taken a part of the, I'm sure you have a sound effect in there. Right?
Well, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Well, there you go.
Spoiler alert.
But you'd have to see the movie to understand why that is so particularly menacing. But even if you haven't, you still feel that dread. Yeah,
there's also harmonic layering of tones to create an atmosphere, which is music, even though it's not. It's much more orchestral. That creates sort of an atmosphere in film or in to enhance a piece of visual art.
Yeah, that's two of the bands that I take a great deal of inspiration from. Gnaw Their Tongues, I think, is so good. I'm actually friends with the guy on Facebook, which is totally crazy. He's just a one-man band, and he does all sorts of different projects, and so
like a Reznor-esque.
Yeah,
I
have a kind of a thing for one man bands. I'm really into Buckethead and stuff like that. Like a black metal band called Leviathan is just one guy, and he puts out just these unfucking-believably, like, you feel the music, like it really runs through you. And Lustmord, who you might have trouble calling him music because it's dark, ambient, just kind of mantras and rhythms and noises. But it is very, very cinematic, and it can inspire a lot of very profound emotions and feelings in people. So that's we have similar goals, but we just go about achieving them in different manners.
Sure.
So then I haven't seen the music video. I'm
The music video I was
but-
very uncomfortable with putting on the internet, but I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, I thought it was really cool. Like, that was my first time hearing any of it. And anytime in this, I don't know, it's kind of along the lines of what Will said. Anytime I hear music and I could see it being put with a certain, like, image in a movie or a scene or whatever, I think it's really cool. If someone were to listen to this song, do you think, kind of like what you were saying along the lines with Jaws, is it something where they should be listening to it the first time with the music video because those are two experiences and like emotions that they should have together? Or
I feel like this song was written and recorded and created specifically to coincide with the music video. I mean, we recorded the video and basically had to like trim up the song to make it fit. And that we very intentionally didn't match up the content of the video to the content of the song in terms of like, you know, cues and like the notes and that.
Like there's an axe striking a tree
and
it does not
it doesn't
coincide
line up with
it,
anything.
right.
And it's because I wanted that very distinct, not parallel, not perpendicular, but very, you know, unsettling kind of thing. And so much of what the lyrics are written, well, let me start over. The lyrics of the video are written in a manner that it's written from the perspective of the anthropomorphized figure of my suicidal depression. And it's like as it speaks to me. And the content of the video is kind of the timeline, not a timeline, but the collected visions of the past year. 2014 was an unfucking-leavably awful year for me. I don't know what to say difficult or challenging, but in all senses, it was just a really tough year. Heartbreak. I got diagnosed with like a mild form of PTSD. A car got stolen and one dog died, then another dog died, and like good friends left, and just people dying left and right, and it was just like the most isolated and just destroyed I had ever been. And so there's nods to that all throughout the video. There's a scene where you see me putting the antidepressants in my hand, and then you see that played backwards because it's about basically how I quit taking those.
I do think the visuals in the video you made are I don't get the music. It's not my thing. The visuals to me are very interesting. I'm into film production and composition, and like I think there's some really interesting shit in there.
This is my first time ever shooting any video for anything.
I feel like it was edited very well.
Yeah, it was my first time doing all that. Yeah, because it was really just me. I did all the editing for it. So it was a very interesting learning experience.
What did you do? What software did you use to do it?
I used the Apple, the Macintosh one. What's it called?
Final Cut.
I believe it was Final Cut. Yeah, I think it was Final Cut Pro, and it was I've got a pretty nice computer,
right? And
I tried to do some of the editing on my computer, and it was just like it was like watching flies. Fuck.
Oh,
it was impossible. It was so fucking slow. It was ridiculous.
Video editing chews up a shitload of memory.
It's unbelievable.
It is.
And then I went on campus and I used their $6,000 computers, and it was just like. It was like water. It was perfect. It was so fast. It was it would have taken me months to work that out.
Yeah, it's like going from flies fucking to water.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a cup full of flies.
Awesome. Oh, cool. Besides the occasional freezing of nicely preserved animal corpse eye, what got you into comedy?
No. Zach Peterson. I was actually taking a class.
Me too.
Right? Yeah, no, he's great. I was taking a class on journalism and I had to write a paper about a significant local person. And so I just wrote an article about Zach. And eventually he just said, well, come out to a show and you'll see a bit of it. And I did. And then eventually he just said, so why don't you give this a shot? And I had already been kind of kicking around some ideas. And I'd always loved stand-up. And so eventually I just put together some stuff and I did my first open mic at Legends, in May of 2013. So
Yeah, way back in 2013.
yeah,
Oh, in fact, I had an encounter with you back then. This is the first time I ever talked to you, Winslow. I don't know if you remember this. We ran into each other at an open mic at Styles Pub in early 2014, I believe. At which point I told you that I was 36 years old and had just started doing comedy. And you told me if you were at this open mic at the age of 36, you would have killed yourself 2 years before then.
that would be pretty optimistic for me.
First conversation I had with you is I would never be doing this at 36 because I would have killed myself.
Yeah, well,
I don't disagree.
I don't intend on reaching 36.
Okay.
I am only. I don't intend on getting too old. That's all I'm just gonna try to say.
I just want to lighten the mood a little bit there. So
Can I say my first conversation that I had with Winslow?
Yes.
You're saying that kind of brought it. Do you remember it at all? Probably
I hope
not.
it wasn't me flirting with you.
Probably the opposite.
'Cause I found you charming through the whole of knowing you. So.
I remember, I think first you had that joke about any jokes about animals is always them doing human things or something else.
Right.
And you said something about that, and then it was right before Omaha Comedy Week, which was in July, and you said, you're in Omaha Comedy Week. Who did you have to sleep with to get on that? And
Did I say that to you?
yeah, and I could tell that it was more as a joke, not because I was a female, but I was also like, who is this new guy that thinks that I'm not good enough to get on a show?
It was probably being sardonic. I don't know. I feel bad. Definitely wouldn't have said that kind of thing now. See,
it's the kind of thing that Corey Brewer would post on his Facebook page.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I have a regressive urge towards saying sexist shit, and I feel like comedy has helped me kind of exercise that part of me. And there's references to the way that men are and the way that men talk throughout my comedy, and to that actual belief and the way that you treat women, and so I do look back on some of the things I've said, and I do regret being a dick. So
I didn't bring that up to make you feel bad.
No,
I just thought it was
It definitely
funny.
sounds like a thing that you would say thinking it was a joke. It doesn't sound like you would... no one would look someone in the eye and say that maliciously. Well, no, I take that back. People would. There are plenty of people who would
definitely
fucking
I'm
do
sitting
that.
right here.
Well, and
No.
I knew that it was a joke, but also since I didn't know you, there was a little thing in the back of my head where I was like, does he really think that... I don't know, because it was right after an open mic, so I didn't know if you just thought I was terrible.
Well,
and
comedians...
but,
No.
I mean, everybody is.
Comedians are
I
always
feel
in their head,
really bad right
No,
now.
no,
So
I shouldn't have said anything. Dang it.
Anything, though, that's
I'm glad this isn't live because you should totally cut that.
I'm not going to cut it because it's funny.
God damn it.
Well, comedians...
When you say you feel really bad, is that compared to your baseline?
It's just it's there's multiple threads of guilt and regret and shame, and this one just kind of got tugged down a little. It's already pretty fucking low.
Yeah.
But it's like down tuning an already baritone guitar.
Say I do things like that all the time, and I'm not as helpfully apologetic about it, just
Right.
because
That's true.
it's right.
One time Will said something about I couldn't be a stripper because I'm too fat. Something along those lines. You were joking, but
See, and you've told that story to me before, and that's a specific context. I don't remember saying that, but I didn't deny it when you came to me
You
and
couldn't
told
be a
me
stripper
that
because you're hideous.
No, I said that to Annie.
yeah. Or like
I
you
said
could be a
you
stripper,
couldn't
but
be
you'd
a
have to lose a few pounds. I don't remember, but it was in
Yeah.
the context of like
Annie, I
me
think
saying
you
I
would
could
be
take
an
some
amazing
jokes.
stripper.
I would.
Yeah,
be
it
I
was.
think
awful.
you'd be awesome.
It
I
would-
wouldn't
yeah,
take
no.
off any of my clothes, so I'd get fired right away.
I feel like you go up there wearing jeans and just be like, oh, fuck.
Just
This is
keep
like
raising
the most
roof.
awkward clothing to take off. Like strippers only wear clothing that's like really you can take it off in a really fluid manner. There's nobody ever like
You have to stop and
Yeah.
work on buttons for a few seconds.
yeah, right.
Sorry, this is just me turning into here's every sexist thing a male comedian has said to me.
Well, it's weird because
That's a fun segment.
Oh my gosh, it
Yeah.
would last 2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, can we get, like, a top?
You didn't do me. Like,
No,
what's
no.
the worst thing I've said to you?
And we also need to find
Do
out
you
my
really
first
want me to say
conversation
this?
with-
Yes.
I was wearing kind of a low-cut dress on New Year's Eve, and you said I looked really good, and I was like, did Jimmy check me out?
Yeah.
That-
For sure I did.
What?
Wait, is that bad?
Yeah, that doesn't sound super bad. I mean,
Yeah.
like I've probably told you before that you look nice because you generally do.
I was genuinely trying to be complimentary, it sounds like.
No,
It's
I
very
just don't take
difficult.
compliments well.
Was that weird?
Yeah.
I think it. I don't know. If a dude compliments me on my looks, it's really hard for me
Oh.
to take that because it just seems like I don't know.
I understand that, and I you know what we should be teaching girls and women is that even if you're not beautiful, you're still a perfectly valuable human being. That being said, you are still beautiful. Like it's an extra thing, you know, and so it can be really difficult for a guy that's just like I feel like a compliment is a good thing, and so when I share this compliment, she should feel good. But when she responds by going like, "Oh wow, you're just a stranger,"
Yeah.
Well, I feel like
I mean,
also
obviously not.
people should.
You know.
I feel like if a dude wants to compliment a girl, the go-to thing is to compliment them on their looks. And I think
Right.
that should be something taught too. Like if you want to compliment a female, there's a lot more. I don't know. I would get
Right.
a lot more of a compliment on
Like, no one would make that
something.
mistake with me or Will. Like, no one would be like, looking good today, boys. But,
Definitely
you know.
Right. But like what you feel like you're saying you'd like to have a lot more guys come up to you and be like, "You're looking very intelligent this evening."
I'd still take that really uncomfortably. Like, still can't take compliments very well. But
Or like
Right.
a specific part, like you know, I like the blazer, or you know, you have a lovely haircut. But
yeah,
just
that
saying,
doesn't
like,
seem as like.
the whole package is looking fucking great.
Was it,
You know,
yeah,
that-
was it that I was kind of like, nice tits? Is that kind of what it was?
That kind of felt like the underlying thing. And I
Yeah.
was just like, "Whoa, girl."
It was
But-
the underlying thing.
Right.
her breasts. That's what we're laughing at.
I
right
want
now.
to. I want to talk about that in general. I don't know that that's what I was saying to you. It might have been.
Possibly not. Somebody else that was over here, I could tell that they kept looking at my chest, so I think I was already kind of.
There's a
self-conscious
laptop in the
about
way,
that.
Wait.
so I can't.
Oh, was that here?
Somebody
Yeah.
else that was
Oh. Well, it
So I think just because I like,
Ca-
because I usually can't tell if somebody's like checking
Right.
me out, but if I can tell, then it makes me uncomfortable. So
Oh,
then
okay.
that was just in the back of my head the whole night of like, oh.
Can
Well,
I can I tell you a moment that I had with you that you just reminded me of once? I think.
That was
I
a
think it
hell
was
of a
you.
sentence.
Yeah, I'm not great at words. No, I had a moment once, and it was you were at Duffy's, and you were like wearing a low cut shirt, and like I kept walking by, and I'd just be like cleavage, and then I'd be like, I'm uncomfortable now. I have to leave because like I don't want Annie to see me and be like, I'm looking at Annie's titties. I don't want you to think that about me. But it wasn't like I couldn't get that out of my head. I was like, I was afraid of your judgment of me looking at you.
This is what I feel. This is a very legitimate question, and I want honest answers. If a female is wearing something low cut on top, the primary purpose being, and I'm not talking about you specifically, the purpose being show some cleavage.
Maybe.
What's the other reason?
there's a variety. I mean, like,
it's a hot summer day, but like,
Well,
is it not okay to look?
it's
If a
generally
guy is
rude.
wearing skinny jeans, you can check out his ass, right?
yeah, his ass is on the other side of him, for one. Unless he's got eyes that can fucking see that what you're doing.
I just don't see the difference.
Well, I feel like women are already so very embattled in every fucking sense of the word.
True.
That,
Oh yeah. I was not trying to compare my experience to that of a woman who what
No,
about
no,
what about
definitely
my
not.
pain?
no, definitely not. But and for every bit that women are in battle, and the sexuality is this, like, men have no idea how to handle it, and that it becomes a problem specific to men of how can I be, like, men that actually give a shit about how they appear and wanting to be progressive and thoughtful, of how do I actually do this? How can I tell her that I think that she's looking very lovely, but not highlighting her looks? Like, there's a lot of banal minutia of trying to find those lines.
I also don't handle compliments well.
I feel
on
like
the
we're
rare
just
occasion.
3 fucking white guys talking about women with a woman who has specific fuck experiences right there. Just like, I could explain this all away in 30 seconds.
Well, I just want to finish the context of the story that I was telling about.
Oh, sure.
The thing about that with me specifically is that I'm just like an uncomfortable, unconfident person, and I like to evade eye contact, which means I generally try to go down. That's why
Happens
I
to be
like
where the breasts are kept.
right, and that's like the like 3-pronged like chain that just kept happening. Is like, oh, I'm going to engage. Oh wait, no, I got to go down. Now I got to get over here. Like,
that's funny.
it's
it is very uncomfortable when there's somebody that is wearing what you would perceive to be a very provocative outfit, but it's just like,
it wasn't like it was super like controversial. Like, it was just a regular like low cut shirt. But
right.
I for sure. Maybe I'm just a slime bag. I guess I don't know. I've never really thought of myself that way, but I do not feel bad looking.
Really?
No, when women are wearing like a low cut top, I don't feel bad. I stare. Why is that? I don't see why that's wrong. Like, what?
Well,
I'm not trying to bang anybody or like.
there's a difference between whether or not like it's like, should it be illegal? No. Is it wrong? That's a different question.
I feel like I buy clothes because I think I usually decide if I want to buy something before I even try it on. I just think it's a cute shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't notice that it's low cut usually until I've like worn it a few times. So
Right.
lots of times, like, I don't even realize that it's low cut, and maybe that's my fault, maybe it's not, I don't know. Like, the dress I wore on New Year's Eve, I wore it to our company Christmas party last year, and it wasn't until halfway through I was like, holy crap, Annie. Like, probably not comfortably appropriate. Or like, whatever I was wearing that night, I'm like, I don't know I couldn't even name what shirt it probably was, and I'm probably walking around oblivious to the fact that...
I might need to change my ways. That's a possibility.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that it's a very valid point that wear whatever the fuck you want, but there's still appropriate and inappropriate things to wear.
Yeah.
And, because they're back to the women being embattled, you never want to be like, well, look at what she was wearing. That's why men stared. That's why this happened. On and on. And
Yeah,
on.
right. There's a dangerous territory there.
It's a very slippery slope. And the reason that I almost never stare, I don't.
It's probably because it's rude. I mean, staring at anyone is rude, whether it's at their boobs or something.
Yeah,
on
but
their
if you
face
wear,
or
but
whatever.
if you wear a T-shirt with, this is not the same thing at all. I'm just trying to make a very roundabout point. If someone wears a T-shirt with a funny slogan on it, you want people to look at it and laugh. You can't like wear that shirt and then be like, "What the fuck are you looking at my shirt for?" Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, people wear...
It's very different
No,
from...
it is, but people wear all manner of clothing to get all manner of reactions from other people. And one of those things...
I am wearing a Nazi armband. It's actually true, but
Well, but like somebody might wear a black trench coat to give off a certain kind of impression.
Oh, he really is. He's got his
Right.
his armband, his Nazi armband.
New subject. Hold on, just a second. Why are you wearing a Nazi armband?
I like the shirt. No, what, the
Snappy dressers, them Nazis.
very literally true. I mean, Hugo Boss and all that shit. Ah, man, they were the best looking horrible thing in the history. I mean, they had their shit together, except for all the everything else that they fucking did.
Right.
Originally, because I only ever wear the shirt when I've got something else over it. But I was taking a Holocaust literature class in high school, and I bought the patch on eBay, and I put it on, and I just wore it to class and just waited to see if anybody would know, because everybody in this class was acting like they already knew what everything about the Holocaust was, and then it just because I was good friends with the teacher.
Okay.
And just to see if anybody would realize what was sitting right in front of them. And, it's the exact thing that a self-important high school kid would do. But
I didn't want to say it.
yeah. No, I mean, a lot of basically everything I do or say can be sidelined away by just saying, oh, well, yeah, that's exactly what a self-important piece of shit would do. But,
We all do comedy. It's fine.
yeah.
Putting yourself on a stage to put your thoughts in front of an audience is what a self-important piece of shit would do.
I
So-
record myself talking for an hour every week and post it to the internet, so I have no room to talk.
Right.
But I did. Were we done making Annie feel uncomfortable?
I wasn't uncomfortable.
Okay, good. I wanted to.
Was that the goal? Because I could absolutely do that.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, if that's the
It's
goal,
gonna get
then
It's gonna get there.
there's all kinds of things you guys can
no,
say.
but this is what I wanted to do.
We haven't even done like the questions,
Can
the
I-
interview questions.
No,
No.
but I was going to start there.
I wanted to make Jimmy feel real bad.
Let's do it.
You said in your analogy, like, people wear certain clothes. People do certain things, like if they're out in public and if they're dressed in a certain way, like they're doing that in order. And you said the example of, like, if you're wearing a funny T-shirt. It's like, yeah, but like what you're describing it's not actually looking at clothing. What you're describing is looking at a person. It's like, the analogy would be closer if you said, like, well, you see that, look at that, like, they brought their handicapped kid out in public, like, if they didn't want me to look at it.
And Annie
what you're describing is staring at a person.
No. There's a different thing. Like,
Before you respond to that,
Yeah.
I'm gonna add more to your plate, because Annie, in her raw form, when she's out of the eggshell, is I don't know.
Is this an emotional eggshell?
No,
Or
I
is
was trying to. I meant to say egg sack. Whatever. Annie, as she is, has her body as it is. She isn't. Her tits aren't a funny thing on a shirt. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, now I'm uncomfortable. Once you said Annie's body, I just slowly sunk.
Yeah, it was kind of a Bell idea.
It's not as creepy if you're just looking at breasts or an ass.
That is the most sexist thing on the Jimmy Curve, by the way.
it is. I want to defend myself really quick, and then we'll move on after I get attacked for another 5 or 6 minutes. But, so I was working at Walden Books in a mall before they all closed. I was an assistant manager of one. And I had an employee who threw a huge fit one day because she was wearing, she would show up wearing this, like, gothic black, like, these big frilly, like, dresses and things that were, I mean, there's nothing technically wrong with them, but they stuck out, and they were always, like, super cinched, and they would just push her cleavage up until it was just popping out the top of her
the
dress.
classic vampira.
Yes, impossible to avoid, and it was making customers uncomfortable. And we have a company dress policy, and, like, I never enforced it because I didn't really care, but I had to tell her that she had to, like, change the way she looked because it's a business and it's making people uncomfortable. Now, ethically, I say look however you want. Like, I don't care. And her thing is, what's the big fucking deal? Why people gotta stare? My argument to her was, you're dressing that way so people stare at you. Like, very specifically. Like, it had to take her an hour to get into this thing. Like, you're doing it to get a very specific reaction of people staring at you. Then she would complain about being stared at, and why is it all my fault? Why can't people just be PC and open to, like, different ideas and views and stuff? And, like,
overt sexuality.
She was
from
right.
Anybody.
I don't think
But-
that you can assume someone's intentions. Like, that might have just been her style. She may not have been doing it to get attention. However, in a professional setting where it's work, I think I
disagree. I think
certain
that, like, I think people are
dress codes that
aware
you
with.
can-
She wasn't wearing it to be comfortable.
I can't imagine anything corseted would be comfortable.
I mean, what?
I've worn corsets before. They were not that great.
even if it's subconscious, you know, she's still dressing that way to get a reaction from people. People who dress up like vampires and walk around are dressing that way to make people uncomfortable. Like, there's a sexual version of this, there's a horror version of this, there's just a weirdness version of it. Like, people dress to get a reaction from people. And I find it hypocritical when people do that, then complain about getting stared at. You know, it's like telling a joke and then complaining when people laugh. Like, you told a joke, you know, or whatever. I don't know.
Well, when I was in high school, I dressed in a ridiculous, completely outstandingly ridiculous manner. I mean, skin tight, like baby blue, like pleather pants, fishnets, sides of my head shaved. I wore tons of makeup. I had enormous platform boots, and it was all done with the very specific intention of just, one, being able to just say, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me, and I'll wear whatever I want, but at the same time, because there was a kind of a tongue-in-cheek humor to all of it, of just being able to be the most ridiculous goddamn peacock in the middle of just regular-ass birds.
Well, there's a great Far Side comic that says it's how nature says do not touch, and it's like a pufferfish all puffed up, and then there's like a porcupine rolled into a spiky ball. And then there's like a dude in a trench coat wearing an inner tube with a boot on his head. It's like this is like that's kind of the point I'm making in a more ridiculous way. Is like, this is how, like, people dress that, like, you were dressing that way to get a reaction out of people. I mean, whatever you were hoping to, it might have been subconscious. It might have just been like,
no, it was very,
I'm expressing unhappiness in some way or whatever.
People always are going to wear a bit of their personality on their sleeve. And
sure.
A shade of that personality might just be extravagance and maybe not, I wouldn't call it attention seeking, but just love of the absurd.
Yeah,
and
okay.
so when you wear your ridiculous clothing, it's just a way of expressing yourself. I feel that even if I'm not going to see anybody, I still dress a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
I still, I've got like fucking 4 shirts with burning churches on them. I realized the other day I have 2 totally different shirts depicting the Judith with the head of Holofernes. Just a woman holding a guy's decapitated head, or the other one's the painting of her as she's cutting his head off. And it was just like, well, I guess that's just what my fucking wardrobe is.
Right.
And, I dress the way I do even when I'm alone. And so when you see that other people, I think it all comes back to just being kind of in your own head.
Mm-hmm.
So when other people dress provocatively, they aren't thinking it. They're just thinking, this is a beautiful dress. I'm going to put it on me, and I can have some of that beauty. And maybe it did look a little provocative, and maybe her tits were all over the place. Basically what Annie was saying is you can't ever really assume somebody's intentions,
No, you can. You just might be wrong.
Right. I mean, right.
Right. I guess my only thing is, like, maybe it makes me an asshole. I just don't feel bad for staring. Maybe I need to change my ways. Looks like that's the way the wind is blowing on this one. So,
I don't know if you want to keep going on this topic, but
I'm just digging a deeper and deeper hole.
I feel like Annie is doing great, but everybody over here is just looking increasingly like shit for this whole podcast. It's kind of
Boom, nailed it.
okay. We're having
See,
fun.
I embrace that. I feel like that's my entire role on this podcast, is to be kind of shitty all the time. Like, I feel like I say a little bit too far things and express the ideas that, like, take it one step too far. That when you bring it back to, like, oh, the actual train of thought that exists that got it to that far, there might be some validity to it, but then you just roll it all the way to the other side of logic.
Right.
Reducto ad absurdum or something of that.
I mean,
don't know.
you're smarter than me.
A little bit.
Go here. I want to move on. I want to read something to you to start a new topic. I was going to ask you to explain to me how you see comedy, Winslow, like what your view is of how comedy works, what got you into it. But if it's okay with you, I just kind of want to read the message you sent me earlier on the way here when you were asking what we were going to talk about.
Okay.
You said, I asked you what you were comfortable with discussing. You said, yeah, I'm comfortable with everything, really. I wanted to discuss the role of suicide in my life and my comedy and the nature of relinquishment to the destroying self.
Yeah. Well, that's what I sound like.
Huh? Well, yeah, do you want to talk about that? That was a very interesting sentence, and it sounded like you had some things to say.
Well, anybody who's ever seen me do comedy is familiar with the level of darkness and not just self-deprecation. Every comic has some joke of self-deprecation, but my kind of depression has made itself manifest in just such a really stark and profound way.
Like, it's more, less self-deprecation, more like self-aggravated assault.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking terrible. And so I have a joke about how every day it hurts to wake up, and it's not an exaggeration. I have a recurring theme in my own life of constantly wishing to be dead, to be no longer existent. And to remove that from my comedy would be disingenuous.
Mm-hmm.
I have jokes that are...
Do you consider yourself actively suicidal?
As it stands, I would say that it's more of a philosophical view of suicide.
Okay.
Like
I've described my... Okay.
Well, it's like I'm aware that there's a kind of a pit and a pendulum nature to my depression, where as I am day to day, I'm like fathoms below everybody else in terms of contentment and mood. I'm already pretty low on the mood scale. But when I'm going through a rough period, it swipes really, really low.
Mm-hmm.
And so eventually, as it swoops down, it'll come back up, but it doesn't go anywhere near the norm. And then when it goes back down again, it goes even deeper.
Right.
And so recognizing this pattern, I just have kind of come to my own conclusion that says that this is just a part of who I am. There's a physical difference in my brain. There's a chemical imbalance that can't be made right through prescriptions or through...
You were taking a bunch of those prescriptions for a while, yes?
I've gone through a whole lot of them, and I've gone through the SSRIs and the
I don't know what that is.
It's the serotonin reuptake inhibitor. It is because there's the three chemicals that make you feel good. You got your serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. And they're the first kind will deal with how your brain manages serotonin, and then the others will work for the. Are we having fun now?
No, stupid. Getting a text about a basketball game that I'm DVRing. So, no,
but
I apologize to interrupt your
back to your wanting to die.
Right. Well, there's three different kinds of antidepressants, and as if one doesn't work, maybe the next one will. And I've tried the first two, and now I'm trying basically the last major kind of antidepressant. And each time that you try one and it doesn't work out, you have to wean yourself off, and then you have to wait for a while to see what it's like without them, and then you have to start small, and then you have to go up in the dosage, and it takes months and months every time. And so I've gone through prescription after prescription, and every time it's just there's no difference. Sometimes it's dramatically worse. And so end of the day, it's looking like that maybe there's nothing that that kind of chemistry can fix in me. Maybe that's just my walk in life. You have somebody who has damage to their cerebral cortex and they can't walk. No matter what you give them, no matter what pill you give them, they're not going to be able to walk because there's a physical difference in what's going on in their brain. And so the way that I understand it, feeling really, really, really bad all the time is just kind of my lot in life,
Except for when you are looking at pictures of raccoons.
Raccoons are pretty cool.
Well, and that I want to ask you this. I want to pose you this question, and I don't know if you may be very offended by this notion. I assume so, in some level, based on the conversation as it was just happening. But I talk about suicide during my stand-up sometimes, and just being a miserable fuck a lot of the time. But I watched like when you were on, I had you on my show, on the Love's Company show. Mm-hmm. And after your set, I think I described you as being younger, more successful, more physically attractive, and more, I don't remember, there was at least two more things, than me. And that you're also more, but also somehow more depressed. And then I think the phrase I used was I feel like you're doing depression blackface. You're just being.
No, there's a local comic who shall be unnamed, who basically just told me that all my suicide darkness stuff is just all an act, and that I'm not actually sad, and that he just said I'm just trying to do this to get spooky points, and it's just I'm
gonna say that. Not that exactly, but do you completely deny the fact that the persona that you put across on stage isn't just that, a persona? I'm not saying that there isn't a basis of truth in it. I don't deny that you are a depressed person with
Can I rephrase this a little bit maybe?
Sure.
I feel like every stand-up on stage is doing an exaggerated version of themselves as a character. Almost every stand-up.
Right.
Where on that scale would you put yourself?
Honestly, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I live such a strange life that just telling people the bare truths about what I do with my day can get a laugh. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of it really isn't exaggerated. I have a bit about I say that I can.
I don't mean the details or the facts. Kind of what I mean is that the way we all talk on stage is not the way we talk in real life. You're taking your own life and your own persona and putting it into an act. Because just telling stories on stage, we've all seen people try, or maybe I've done that myself, and it's not funny. To get a laugh, you have to put it into some kind of a package that people can understand.
I really still don't feel that my stuff is that exaggerated.
Okay.
Because a lot of it is it's all taken from very, very true parts of me. And as for the idea of as for comedy or what is it, depression, blackface, is that it's just it wouldn't make sense because it black people didn't wear blackface.
Right.
So
right.
But so yeah, because it's not very exaggerated. It's just
okay.
The reason that it might come off as exaggerated is because most people don't really see my experience or see what I'm feeling and understand that it's that it's actually
Yeah, I
genuine.
wasn't calling you a liar. I was just kind of saying I was just when I perform comedy, I'm also doing me and I'm trying to be true to myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't walk around talking like that on stage. I try to take my experiences and package them in a way that people can relate to, because if I just sat there and talked about sports into a microphone, everyone would get fucking bored and leave.
I mean, there's what I am on stage is very much a more artful and collected version of just who
Right.
I am. I'm a dude, but on stage, I'm a performer.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, there's a fuck it. I don't know how to finish that sentence.
It's okay. Did I derail what you were getting at, Will? Or
Not really. I don't know if I have a fundamentally different experience than you, because I feel like I'm a depressed person, and I catch a little bit of shit from Ryan Dowd, because he tells me that I'm act too happy for his taste, for as much as I talk about being a sad sack and being depressed. And I think the difference with him is that when I do comedy, I get something out of doing comedy, and so that's the only time we interact, and I gain a benefit, and I like doing it, and so I experience joy around that one thing, and so that's the only interaction we have.
Yeah, you and I have very different experiences in terms of what we get out of comedy. Then,
okay, so do you not get anything in that way out of comedy?
well, there's two feelings for me that are very, very foreign, and it's pride. I never feel satisfied with what I've created, and just comfort, joy and feeling contented and release. For me, it's just I go there because if I like the idea of being able to have a whole group of people as a captive audience, more or less, and to tell them really scary shit that happens in my life and just have them deal with it. And I package it in jokes, and that's what I get them to stay.
because you can get a bigger audience than packaging it as poetry.
Exactly, and that's actually one of the jokes that I've never had a chance to tell, but I really want to start is just in the middle of the whole thing is to be like, I'd like to read you some of my poetry. Just kidding. Just to fuck with people, because as much as I do write, all sorts of stuff. I write poetry and I write comedic stuff. I'm working on a book and all this other horse shit. Yeah, there's definitely no audience for that, and there's a reason that I
There is an audience for slam poetry. It's just a terrible.
yeah, fucking slam poetry is no fucking thank you. But there we go. When I share some stuff on Facebook in terms of my serious art, like my writings and my photography, and but I definitely don't go out of the way to share it with anybody from the comedy scene, because when two comics are together, they're just looking at how can we make this into a joke. It's just like we're trapped in a house, and the Reds are coming to get us, and we have to board up the windows. How can we make this into a weapon?
Mm-hmm.
But for everybody else, they see things in the whole variety of different experiences, and so I have to be very selective with who I open things up with, because I've had a lot of stupid comments of people that just try to make a joke out of absolutely everything.
Oh, for sure. I have music that I've created that I'm pretty serious about and somewhat proud of, and I don't show it to a lot of people because I know they'll just make fun of it.
Right, exactly.
I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, and
I wrote Mary a song for Christmas, and I have not played it for anyone but her because everyone will fucking make fun of it, and I don't want that.
right. Yeah, and it on that, it's like I never get offended by other people's saying things. It's just like back to being self-absorbed.
That's like a superpower, because I for sure do.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody says something stupid or hurtful to me, it's just like, oh, okay, it's just discount it right off the bat. I'll acknowledge it and I'll understand it, but unless you're directly assailing me, then I'm what would I care? If you're talking shit about, people of a group that I happen to belong to, I don't care about that. Maybe it's because I'm a fucking heterosexual white guy, but
Cool. I would like to redirect the attention in the room very briefly to something that's been bothering me.
if it's Annie's tits,
Ah.
that
It'd be great if
Close.
we never mentioned those again.
Close. I just have a simple question. Annie, what's in the bag?
Yeah, last time I was on the Jimmy Curve, I brought presents and I forgot to give them out. So I brought them again, and that means Winslow gets Josh's. So too bad for Josh.
Okay.
And I want to point out this is the story as I want to tell it. She made a point that she was going to give it to us. It was going to be a bit we were going to do on the show, and then we got into recording, and then we just kind of kept rolling and forgot about it, and then ended the record. And then we were like, oh shit, we were supposed to get presents, and me and Jimmy were just real excited about getting presents, and then we did not get it because Annie, like a woman, withholds things to gain power.
What?
Oh.
So that she could get back on the show, and it worked.
That's
I brought
true, it did.
chocolate, and nobody
See?
had. Well, you did.
I had a chocolate.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
not surprising.
I
Yeah.
don't know the best way to do this because
See,
all
that-
three of them are in one bag.
There's one
Okay.
of those things I said earlier. I just say
The
self-aware
stuff?
sexist things.
Yeah, I just decided to
Mary, do
ignore
you
it
want some
'cause-
chocolate?
I already got some and I'm bringing it.
I just want to I just want to clarify to the listeners that I do know what I am.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm not gonna give Will the satisfaction of opening the gift because he said that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna let Jimmy open it.
Yay! All right. Okay.
There's three of them.
Oh, super cool. Okay. And I can just slide them out. Oh my God! It's Silly String. Woo! Silly String Max. That is
only-
super exciting. Oh, thanks, Annie.
Yeah, they are about 4 years old, so I don't know if they still work.
Where did they come from?
I bought it when I was in college because I thought it'd be
I'm
good to
sorry, thank
have, but it was right when I became an RA, so I was like, I can never use this like close to my building because I'd feel bad like making a mess. 'cause
Yeah.
I worked there,
Yeah,
so
I will
never
not.
did.
Yeah, please do not fire this off in here, as there is expensive stuff that I do not want.
And the whole bottle might just explode because it's so old. I don't know.
Ooh.
Oh,
Do you think that in time it's aged and becomes serious string?
I hope so. Yeah. It's matured.
It's matured.
It's now very conservative.
it's serious string. When you press the button, just like a single needle will just emerge holding a single piece of string.
Have you
Wow,
guys?
can come
you
out that you
totally
can use-
improved that joke with that. Man, where would I be without you tagging my joke? I feel like Zach Reinert. Everybody who's ever commented on Zach Reinert's fucking status.
Have you guys seen what happens when people set fire to Silly String?
No, can
No.
we do that?
It's fucking exciting.
Not here.
It is. Silly String is like some of the most flammable shit. Like
Do they set fire to the actual string or to the
string.
bottle? Okay, because I was like, the bottle sounds like a good way to just like make a huge explosion.
Yeah,
You
we would
know,
do that
I
outside.
actually have, way before I ever did comedy, I had a running series on YouTube of, like, Stefan and Winslow make a fire. Because just behind my house, where the video was actually shot, there's open access to the sewer system, and so you can just go down there. And so we would, just make bombs. And so yeah, this stuff. If you want to talk about making a bomb, talk to me.
Okay.
And that's
Okay.
that's the quote that you cut out and put it in the very, very first thing before the intro, because that's the clincher. That's what
I like it. I like it a lot. It's going to go in the drop machine.
if you want to talk about making a bomb.
Talk to me.
Do you own a copy of the Anarchist Cookbook?
That's actually funny that you should mention that, because I have a thing, like, if it's free, I'm interested in it. I've broken into abandoned buildings, and I've got like all these rotary telephones. I don't have any need for them, but
If you have to break into a building to get it, it wasn't free per se.
it's an abandoned building. That business is long gone.
Okay.
But no, I downloaded this archive of just like all of the ebooks, all of them, and it's just like thousands and thousands, and it's like the vast majority are just awful crap. It's just like, you know, the vampire sword of Narniog. Yeah, it's just the worst possible shit. And I'd be surprised if I didn't have at least 1 or 2 copies of the Anarchist. Probably have it in Portuguese. I have everything. What I'm trying to do is try to get into reading Paradise Lost, because
I've read that.
Yeah, because I'm a big fan of Cormac McCarthy.
Okay.
Because he's a fucking madman.
Paradise Lost is wild.
Yeah, I
By
mean,
Milton. Like it's nuts.
yeah, it's a very important book in terms of like black metal
Horror shit.
Right, because it's the basic argument of it as a story is that Satan was the moral high point, or like he was the moral superior to God before God, as God cast him out of heaven, because all Satan wanted was to have equality. And so it's a very interesting book, and it kind of depicts Satan as a symbol of freedom and rebellion from tyranny.
Are you sure that's not the plot of Wicked? I think
It might be. I do get them confused.
Boom, nailed it.
But
Cool. Well, thank you very much for the gift, Annie. My driveway is covered in ice because I was on vacation when it snowed, and it went through several meltings and refreezings before I was able to shovel it. I am going to attempt to spray it with silly string and then set fire to it. For sure, I am going to try that.
Can
Record it.
Can we just do that right now?
Yes.
Okay.
As soon as we save this, we are going to try that.
All right.
For sure.
Have you ever seen a ping pong ball on fire?
Yeah, I
Yes.
saw that.
That
That's
is
pretty-
super cool.
pretty interesting. I really like doing not the ping pong ball, but just like octane booster for cars. It just tears up. It's
Yeah.
nuts. I you should put a link to this too, because I bought an old antique baby carriage.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I built a big bomb and I put it in there, and I got this one perfect photo of it, and it's so. Oh fuck! I'm still really. I feel like that's the one thing I can be proud of, because that was like my one shot of getting that photo, and the photo is called "Birth Control Pill." So, yeah,
Yeah, that's fantastic. Especially for someone like Will, who has said that he is in favor of anything that equals less people.
Finn. There we go.
All right. I feel pretty good about that. Guys, we've got a lot of content here. I had Josh come in last night and record his news topics for us to have something to talk about, but we kind of didn't have time to get to them, and we didn't really
Fuck it. Lay it on us.
We didn't really have trouble coming up with things. You want to do a couple?
We can
You wanna
cut
do
it.
some news?
It's fine.
All right. Let's try it.
Joshua
Vossler News.
Everybody.
Hey, listen, I'm a better driver when I got a few beers in me, you know, like, I don't know, like 17? A Texas man was sentenced to 2 life sentences Wednesday for drunk driving. Bobby Jean Martin, age...
I'm going to stop there because Winslow sent me a thing and that interrupted
Oh,
the...
fuck. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's the 2 links you wanted.
Yeah. No, it's all right. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go right back to this. See, I can do that through the magic of technology.
Bobby Jean Martin, age 64, racked up 10 DWI charges between 1981 and 2014. In the latest incident, Martin crashed his mother's pickup truck on August 2nd and had a blood alcohol level of .217. Martin then threatened to kill not only the deputy that arrested him, but his wife, his children, and his mother. The jury took 1 hour to convict Martin and spent 3 hours deliberating his sentence after learning of his earlier crimes. Martin's life sentence will be served concurrently, and he'll be eligible for parole at age 80.
So, life sentence for repeated drunk driving offenses. I'm okay with it.
I think it's funny that once they said he crashed his mom's pickup, I'm like, he's been doing this for 12 years, but it's still something that a 17-year-old would do.
Yeah, and I like the idea of like, sir, we're arresting you for drunk driving, and he was like, I'll kill you. Like, that's an inglorious reaction.
I don't get on my high horse altogether too often.
Do you have a low horse?
I mean,
that wasn't a fat joke. I was seriously thinking about that recently. It's like, oh, get off your high horse. Are there a variety of like lengths of horses?
The preferred term is Shetland pony.
Very nice. You got me there.
No, I was just gonna say, like, it's weird to me how pervasive and accepted like drunk driving is as just like an anecdote. Like, oh, that's the time I got a DUI. It's like, oh, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, no,
like,
I've got a good friend that is just a fucking unrepentant. It's gonna hurt when she listens to this, but she needs to hear it. She's just this unrepentant drunk, and she can't have a car until like 2016. Like they took away her fucking keys, and when she was posed with the choice of either you get your shit together and stop drinking, or you don't have a car, she just said, well, I could sell my car, then I can have fucking beer money. Like,
yeah, I lost an uncle to drunk driving. He just got
I
drunk
lost a
and
good
killed
friend.
Himself. I mean, you're right though. It is one of those things that people talk about doing comically.
Yeah.
And you should.
It's
horrible.
There's a lot of jokes that kind of, or it's not even like a joke that starts that way, but it's like a throwaway part of their joke where it's like, well, got drunk and drove home, and then that's like just a tiny laugh line in the middle of their joke when that shouldn't be fun. Like, it's terrible.
I mean, I do a joke about that in my routine. I do a joke about drunk driving, but I try not to glorify drunk driving.
Yeah, and you don't.
Right.
It's more of like a caricature of that kind of character.
No.
But yeah, no, I try not to.
People tend to forget that the other half of drunk driving isn't the fact that, oh, you might wreck your car, you might wrap it around a pole. It's the fact that you might, plow through a fucking kid.
Kill yourself and others.
Right.
Yeah,
It's like, who cares about killing yourself? If you're drunk and getting behind the wheel, you're giving that shit up.
Right.
I want to know if this guy who got life in prison for multiple drunk driving convictions, where is he on the sort of criminal hierarchy in Gen Pop? Like, I'm assuming slightly above child molesters, slightly below murderers.
The hierarchy is a lot more nebulous than people think.
Right.
I have a relative that works as a psychologist at a max security prison, and it's very liquid.
Right.
It's like you can be. I mean, child killers are like fucking fodder there.
Yeah.
But even if you're there for lower crimes, you can go out and depending on your behavior and your strength of character, for lack of a better term,
you can earn respect in the yard.
You can do all of that. So
right. Okay. Well,
but he blew a .2 something.
Yeah.
See here, I don't drink and I've never drank,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't know. Like, you have a beer, how much does that put you at?
So it depends on your capacity to ingest alcohol and absorb it. Like, for me, I'm a pretty big guy and I drink a lot. Legal limit is 0.08. I can drink a 6-pack of beer and not be there. Mary probably takes two beers to get over that legal
Before
limit.
she gets really racist against Italians.
Sorry, what's that?
With nothing to eat.
With nothing to eat, right? Like, it's hard if you don't eat. Like, I don't know where you're at, Annie.
Like probably 3 or 4 is when it's.
When you would go for
probably over the limit.
if I drink 6 beers, I will have a buzz, but I will not be drunk. If I want to get drunk, I have to be doing shots and like ingesting alcohol at a pretty alarming rate.
Shots.
So for, like,
Don't fucking
the average-
LMFAO me.
For the average man, like, let's just say this dude who we're talking about
Yeah.
is the average guy. I would say like 5 drinks would put him over 0.08, 4 or 5.
To get to a 0.2, though,
That-
you have to like drink a shitload.
Yeah,
like
he-
you're
Probably
chugging
drinking liquor.
chugging moonshine.
Yeah.
This guy sounds like the type of guy who has an accent and probably drinks moonshine. Now that's racist, but I don't care. Is my guess.
Racist isn't the right word.
Yeah, I wouldn't call them a race because they're not people. It's Texas.
Let's do another news story.
Now, I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens. Scientists in the United Kingdom have examined a tiny metal circular object and are suggesting it might be a microorganism deliberately sent by an extraterrestrial creature to Earth. Did that sound right? All right. It's no bigger than the width of a human hair. That's the size of this thing. The University of Buckingham reports that the molecule metal globe was discovered by astrobiologist Milton Wainwright and a team of researchers who examined dust and minute matter gathered by a high-flying balloon in the Earth's atmosphere. The sphere has bacterial life on the outside, and it is oozing biological material from its center. Now, this whole idea of this is called panspermia, which is the theory that suggests life spreads across the known physical universe, hitchhiking on comets and meteorites.
Now, I very much am an atheist. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in psychics. I don't believe in magic. I don't believe in any of that, what I consider unprovable nonsense or anything that can't be established with logic or reason. But I am fucking all about aliens. Like, I am all about aliens. I love this idea and I love this story because I've been really obsessed with this idea lately of with this thing called the Fermi paradox, which I've talked about on the show before, which is like during the Manhattan Project when all these physicists and scientists got together and they like in their downtime they all smoked a bunch of weed and started doing math about aliens, and it was like Robert Oppenheimer and Enrico Fermi and all these like 8 of the 30 smartest people in the world were in a room together and they started talking about aliens, and they essentially proved with math, like, there was this paradox of it's almost impossible that we would not have been contacted by extraterrestrial life.
Well, sorry, go on.
No, just the idea, the basics of the idea, and I'm boiling it down to like super simplicity, is that there are billions of stars in the galaxy. Ours is one of the youngest. If just a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of them can support life, and that life has been developing for billions and billions of years, like longer than life has on our world, like what are the odds that one of those billions and billions and billions of civilizations has not discovered space travel?
The trouble with that is that it presumes that there absolutely has to be a way for the people to go faster than, like, for them to actually send, what would the word be, an ambassador,
right?
Or as an exploratory vessel, to us. I mean, that would presume that they would have like a flotilla that could just say, all right, here we are, we built this enormous ship, we're just going to send it out, and it'll be 3,000 years traveling at sublight speed or even light speed before it could even reach us.
Yeah, it's all based on infinite possibilities.
Right. And so the
makes a lot of assumptions.
Almost more tragic reality is that even though there might be an infinite amount of life deep in the universe, is that the universe is so massive that the age that we've been able to actually make contact with each other is long gone. We might just be this secluded within our own little cluster of stars.
There's another theory too, which I like even more, which is essentially that they are here. We're just not smart enough to know. Which is like this to me speaks of the example is we can create a spray that makes us invisible to deer. Essentially, the idea is if we can disguise ourselves from animals on Earth, like why do we think that aliens couldn't disguise themselves from us?
Well, that also presumes that, like, well, what if they already are here? But, you know, that idea of what if they already are here, but we can't see them is it's saying, like, no, they are, but we can't see it because it's like, there's a dragon in this room, I promise you. However, any method of me proving it is kind of up in the air. I don't actually have a way of showing you. You know, it gives it gives them an instant out for any, because so many people, I mean, you yourself included, really want to believe
this is what you're describing.
I don't. I just think it's fun.
What you're describing is is very similar to like the argument put forth by like the flying spaghetti monster statement, like saying you don't believe in God.
You can't prove it wrong, you know. Right. And it is, you're absolutely right. There very well could be, but Occam's razor states that there's a damn good chance that the reality is that light behaves in a certain way. Yeah. Maybe it's like what E.B. Lytton wrote, 100 years ago in The Coming Race, about how there are more advanced people, but they're deep in the earth, or maybe, they're behind the sun. There's a variety of different ways around it, but chances are good that we're just stuck here.
There is a chance, but I think that, like, as time goes on and science evolves, we are constantly learning that everything we used to think we know, we don't know shit. Like, right. There's a very good chance that none of our theories about the physical world around us have any legitimacy to them. You know?
I read something very interesting recently about neutron stars are just unfucking-believable. There's a lot of interest in like learning about black holes, and black holes are interesting, but neutron stars are relatively tiny. I don't know the specific math, but it's just as opposed to supermassive black holes, which are just unfucking-believably enormous. Mm-hmm.
I thought a black hole in any form was essentially indescribably small. It created a vacuum of negative space surrounding it because its intense gravity moved everything into it. But that just meant there was everything was condensed into like the smallest conceivable point.
Think of it as like, this is Jimmy's house, but Jimmy's house includes his yard and everything up to the sidewalk. A black hole, the actual the event horizon is going to be. And oddly enough, the name of the comedy track I recorded is called Creeping Out to My Event Horizon. Comes full fucking circle. But the actual, the event horizon, the point of no return of all matter is going to be a certain size, but the field that is affected by it is going to be massive. It's going to be exceedingly large. But the thing about neutron stars is that they're incredibly small. They're unfucking-believably dense to the point that they are spinning, like 70,000 kilometers a second. Like that, they're a day, if you want to say, on a neutron star is, just a fraction of a second. If you were to be, like the equator of a neutron star moves at like, 20% of the speed of light. And it's moving so fast that it's actually like kind of made itself into like a plate of just ultra dense matter. That in and of itself is this kind of beautiful thing. If you look out into the universe and you say like, oh, there's so much order. There has to be, aliens reaching out to us. There has to be something out there, some intelligence, because it's all so well put together. And then you look and you see a neutron star moving so fucking fast and so wrongly that you have to go, oh wait, there's enormous fuck-ups and like crazy goofy bullshit in the universe that's like, oh, the puddle looks around itself and says, oh, this hole that I'm in, it's perfect. the perfect size for me. But the puddle doesn't realize, oh, wait, no, that's just because I've filled this particular space.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we are so self-involved that we want to think that that any race that's traveling the stars is going to give a shit about what's going on our planet. And I don't think so. I don't even give a shit about what's going on your planet.
And you can take that to the bank, ladies and gentlemen. He's covered in wolf urine.
When's the last time you've been attacked by a wolf?
Not recently.
There you go.
Well, we
shit's
all right,
rough,
guys.
dude. I'm in North O.
All right, guys, we're up against it. We got to wrap this up. Thank you very much for listening. I had a good time. There's another super long episode, guys. This is what I get for continuously having really interesting people on the show is we keep talking about shit, and it goes really long. So if you made it to the end of this episode, bully for you. Thank you so much. Plugs. Who's got stuff coming up? Tonight, Thursday. Come to the Backline Improv Theater at 1618 Harney and see Annie and I perform with our long-form improv team, Words with Friends with Benefits. Annie, what else you got going on?
Just still come to the Pilgrimer on March 7th, which Jimmy has weaseled his way into.
I'm in that now. I am now on Epic Improv. I'm so excited about that. Hopefully I won't fail. Come see me play music while people tell jokes. It's going to be great. Anything else?
I can't think of it.
Will, what do you got? Plugs.
Saturday the 21st, you can come to the Will Doherty Loves Company show, also at the Backline. Although I'm not even sure who's on it yet. So
all right.
I know.
Yeah.
Me and James are on
that. I'm gonna do. I wanted to do like a Valentine's Day thing, but it turns out I wanted to get like couples on to like mess with each other's sets. But they all moved. So, but I do have, James Lindsay and, Annie Hildebrand doing the weird couple interruption thing. So that should at least be weird and uncomfortable, I hope.
Winslow, what do you got coming up?
I'm going to be at the Rusty Nail on Wednesday and Century Lounge in Bellevue on Sunday at 6.
Cool. Phoenix Comedy.
Yeah.
It's a good show.
Funny enough, but that's something that only I'm going to be laughing at, and I'll explain it to you when we're off the air.
Okay, all right. Well, thanks a lot, everybody. Let me see this for a second, because I can't remember. The song that I've chosen to end on today is by All Young Girls Are Machine Guns, and it is called The Devil Walks Into a Bar. So,
next time, play some Gnaw Their Tongues. Do that for me.
I will look into it and make an independent decision regarding that choice. So, for our guest, Winslow Dumaine. Sign off line.
Oh, fuck. You got to give me, like, a time to prepare for that.
No can do. Fill in, co-host, Annie Hildebrand.
Thanks for letting me do this again.
And Will Doherty.
Do we really get to set your driveway on fire?
If we have time. I'm Jimmy Putnam. Thank you very much for listening, and good night.
You walked in with a sinister grin, and I think you should know I see through your shiny disguise, and I think you should go now. I think you should go. I met the devil at a bar down in Memphis, and he asked me to dance, so we did. The sweeter the music got, I knew that I couldn't stop till my hips and my feet were ground down and right. No, walked in with a sinister grin. I know that you know I see through your shine.